Okay, let's start recording YouTube movie. Today's guest is James. James is my friend. We try to make and eat sushi with each other. Thank you for coming today, James.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to talking with you today. And for the first time, I want to ask you, could you explain yourself a little?
Yeah, so I'm a startup founder. I started a company called Brownstone Shared Housing a couple of years ago, and we're based in Palo Alto. And I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about that. But my background, I grew up in Southern California. I've been in California my
Yeah,
whole life. And
yeah, cool.
I went to Stanford, studied electrical
Yeah,
engineering, and
so smart.
ended up taking a lot of humanities classes as well. So I
Yeah.
graduated with an interdisciplinary major there, and really got into entrepreneurship as a way to solve problems. And housing was a very big problem in my life and also in my co-founder's life, and so
Oh, I see.
that's why we ended up starting this company.
Thank you. Thank you for telling me. And you tried to participate in this video recording from your product in your pod. Is it
Yeah.
correct? Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so we make these sleeping pods. They're basically
yeah.
private beds. So you can see I'm in one right now. We manufacture them, and there's a fan, and it
Cool.
has temperature control in it.
Okay.
And then a place to charge electronics. This is a wireless charger for like your phone. Let me see.
Yeah.
Put your phone on it. See, so
Cool.
wireless chargers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just all
Yeah.
sorts
Yeah.
of things like that. And of course, a light that you can control. And really, the differentiator there is like if you stay in a hostel, you probably stay in a bunk bed or a regular open bed where everyone can see you and there's no privacy, and you can't really fit that many people in the same room comfortably. So our product changes that with the sleeping pods.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your product function, and it's so cool product. And I want to try to live there. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to living there in Port, in
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, and I want to next. I want to next. I want to ask next question. Um, James, why did you start this service?
Yeah, so when I was finishing up at Stanford, I needed housing, but my parents didn't have a lot of money, and I definitely didn't have a lot of money. I was just a student, and I
Yeah,
couldn't find anywhere to live nearby, but I had this opportunity to finish at Stanford, and it's a really good opportunity.
yeah.
So I was determined to make it happen, and I got lucky actually. A hacker house nearby with a bunch of bunk beds allowed me to live there for free in Palo Alto if I
Okay.
just wrote code to run their website. And
Oh, I
while I
see.
was there, yeah, I learned about hacker houses and that it wasn't just hackers living there. It was all sorts of people that just needed a place to live near Google or Stanford or Facebook. And I realized that if you can make a product that solves the problem for all of them, there's plenty of customers that have that same need that I did. But the hacker house was not good, and they were overcharging people. And
Over
so
chatting. Okay.
that's kind of what got me started with the idea. But then when I met Christina, my co-founder,
Okay.
she had also housing struggles when she was finishing up college and getting started in California. But she had actually become a landlord. And
Yeah.
so she owned a few properties, and she was coming from the other side where she wanted to charge people lower rent, but didn't really know how because it would involve construction and that would just make it expensive. And so I knew she'd be a great co-founder. And so we put our
Okay.
heads together and we came up with this.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story, your team story. And I had the same problem. I have same problem now. You and
Hmm.
Christina. Yeah, when I came to Silicon Valley for the first time, I was very surprised. When I tried to live somewhere, the price is about three times in Tokyo. I can't
Wow.
believe it. Yeah, crazy price.
Mm.
So I believe that your startup is so cool, and it's very important thing to fix this real estate price problem. So I cheer your team. Yeah,
Yeah.
please fix this problem. Yeah.
We're working as hard as we can. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. But take care. It's very important thing. Take a rest for entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But James, you talked about your co-founder Christina. Yeah, I know Christina too.
Mhm.
But for the first time, when did you meet with Christina, and how did you meet with her?
Yeah, so after college, after I graduated from Stanford, I was able to get a job working for the state of California, so in the government. And I started a few months before Christina, and
Okay.
so she started after me, and eventually we started working on the same team.
Oh, cool.
And um, we realized that we worked really well together. We just worked way more efficiently, and just we were able to solve problems much more quickly than other teams. And so we started talking. Um, and then one time, our job involved travel. So one time we had to drive about 2 hours through the state, and we were just sitting in the back of a van just talking. And that's where Christina was telling me about her experience as a landlord. And I was just listening to it, thinking of coming from
Okay.
the resident side, the renter side. And then I realized that Christina would be the perfect co-founder because I was always planning on quitting my job to start a company. I was
Okay.
just working there just to save up money. And then Christina didn't come from the entrepreneurship background,
Okay.
but I was able to convince her that it would be a lot more important than just sitting around behind a desk at the government for the rest of our lives.
Yeah, it's very intriguing story. Thank you for sharing. And I remember my startup. I started this startup 10 years ago in Japan, based in Japan. The co-founder was the person whom I worked with him before starting startup. So
Hmm.
it's very important thing to do some same projects
Yeah,
with the candidate for co-founder. Yeah, it's a
exactly.
very
Yeah,
good thing.
you find out really quickly if you work well together,
Yeah,
especially because you get experience working with other people, and that can even be in school.
yeah,
You can work on group projects, and then your co-founder, it'll be
yeah.
obvious. If you have any questions about would this person be a good co-founder, then they probably wouldn't be. So once you know, then you know.
Yeah. Okay. And but it's very difficult thing to find good and suitable, appropriate founder, I think.
Mhm.
Uh, so it's a little difficult for me to how to find good co-founder. Do you have some opinion?
Yeah, I would say based on, I mean, you see it with hiring early employees as well, even if you do find the right co-founder. So I
Yeah.
would say my honest advice is to just be willing to do all of the work yourself. And
Okay.
then if a good co-founder comes along, then that's a bonus. But if not,
Bonus.
then yeah, you just have to be willing to do it all yourself. And then there's a reward there where you would just have more equity in your startup.
Okay. Okay, if you cannot find some co-founder fast,
Hmm.
it's very important thing to decide by yourself.
Hmm.
You try to fix the problem, or you try to start startup by yourself, only by
Right.
yourself. After
Yeah.
that, if you can find some good founder, it's a bonus.
Yeah. There's a lot of people who they they think they don't know how to code, but they have a good business idea and
Yeah,
they try to find a technical co-founder. But
yeah,
if you're young and in college or something, then I would say just teach yourself how to code and
yeah.
get started. And then if someone comes, then they can take over the coding later.
Yeah, I agree with you, James. It is because I started my company after graduating from University of Tokyo.
Mm,
I don't have money, and I have not experienced a lot of things. I don't know how to collect money, how to fix problems or something.
mm,
But this is a very good experience for me. It is because I don't have money, so I have to do write code by
hmm.
myself for the first time. I
Yeah.
learned a lot from this experience and our services growing up. After that, when I have to hire some person, some good engineer, I can find this person is good engineer or not. So
Hmm.
it's very important thing. Do by yourself for the first time.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, I think so. And by the way, next question, James, what percentage of your Stanford classmates started startups by themselves?
It's
Do you
it's
remember?
yeah, well, it's interesting because when
Yeah,
the stereotype is that, you
yeah,
drop out of college or you
yeah, yeah,
um
yeah, yeah. Like
you
Steve Jobs
yeah,
or Bill Gates or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
or you immediately start a company right when you graduate. And the reality, so there were a few of those people and they started very big companies from my
yeah.
class and they didn't finish undergraduate degree. But that's only a couple of people. And then most of the people finished college, started
Okay,
working somewhere, and only
okay.
now a lot of them are starting companies. So
Yeah,
it's growing every year. And it's mostly when you get towards your 30s, then you see a lot of people starting companies actually.
I
Not
see.
like when we first graduated college, it was not that high, but every time I check now, so probably well over half of my friends have started a company by this point, but I
Okay.
can't think of any who started it right after college.
Okay. Thank you for telling me. And I graduated from University of Tokyo, but classmates have not started their company.
Hmm.
It's a very limited number. I started my company after graduating from the university as soon as possible. I was told by many people, "Are you crazy? There is no people. Most of the people go to huge company, bank or consulting company or something. So it's very different way for me to start startup in Japan. But James, when did you decide you want to be an entrepreneur? When you were a high school student or something? I want to know when did you decide?
I'd say so. I never wanted to go to college.
Oh,
I
really?
no, I didn't. I just wanted to learn. I taught myself how to code, and I just wanted to do my own thing. And I was willing to work a minimum wage job just to get by until I
Okay.
figure out what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But my brother had gone to college, and so I was expected to go to college because I had really good
I see.
grades. So
Okay.
my compromise was that I would apply only to colleges that had really low acceptance rates. And so I figured if I don't get in, then I wouldn't have to go.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I got into MIT and Stanford.
Yeah.
And so then I said, well, I guess I'll go to college. But
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah. Yeah.
before, I just wanted to start a company. And
Okay.
actually, during college, I worked on a music startup as well, very seriously.
Okay.
Um, but that one never raised funding, and so I just kept going to school.
Never raise funding. Okay, gotcha. It's a little difficult to earn money in this business field.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
music startup. Yeah. Okay, but your brother, I have younger brother, but your brother are very smart, I think. I listened to
Mhm.
your voice. But uh, you, but when you were college student, could you get a good score? I think you were smart when you were college student.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's well, I didn't always apply myself to class, but
Okay.
yeah, when I did focus on class, yeah, I would get good grades.
Oh,
It's
cool.
I'm definitely the type of person I can apply myself to something. So
Okay.
even though I didn't want to be there, I was able to apply myself to finish and graduate.
I see. I see. Okay. I understand. Okay. And James, next question. I think your team are trying to fix real estate price problem. It's very good thing and awesome project. But in 10 years, what do you wanna be?
In 10 years, I
Yeah,
would love
10 years.
to solve the problem that we're trying to solve. So, which is
Okay.
housing. Right now, housing is a barrier to all sorts of opportunities.
Okay.
Like you mentioned, it's a barrier to coming to the US for
Yeah.
school or starting a company. And it's a barrier within the US as well. About 10,000 plus college students in
Yeah.
California alone are actually homeless. So they live
Yeah.
in a car or on someone's couch,
Yeah.
and in rare cases actually outside just on the street because they can't afford to live anywhere near their college campus. So in 10
Yeah.
years I want to actually solve that problem. And then by then I'm sure the company will find some other problems to solve as well.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Today, I came to Plug and Play in Sunnyvale, and I talked with many students from Japan. And Japanese exchange rate is so bad now. When we exchange Japanese yen to dollar, the rate was so bad. So it takes a lot of money to rent some space.
Right.
So I wanna ask you to solve this type of a problem in the US. It's very
Mhm.
meaningful thing, I think. And James, but do you have some exit goal in 10 years? Go to Nasdaq market or to sell your company or something? Do you have some idea?
Yeah, so we would never sell the company because we definitely believe that we have the team to solve the problem. And so our plan would be the public market is a great way to, reward early investors and still it's also
Cool.
another way to raise cash for the business. So that's definitely on the table in 10 years.
Okay. You have a strong will. You don't sell your company. It's a good thing. You believe, and I wanna invest your company as one investor, and I wanna help your team to go to Nasdaq market, and I wanna help not only Japanese people but also other immigrant people to coming to the US. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
this is my
definitely.
opinion. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for sharing your plan in 10 years. And James, last question. Last question. Do you have something that you want to tell audience? This YouTube video mainly audience are entrepreneurs and investors. Do you have some?
Mhm.
Do you have something that you want to tell to them?
Yeah, I guess uh, some news and some insight as well. So, for the entrepreneurs, a lot of the time when you're raising investment or even just communicating what your business does, especially early on, the the people you're talking to, they hear what you're saying, and then they uh, think that they try to scale it out in their mind as it is to see, oh, can this be a $1 billion company? That's probably the normal way that people think. But as the entrepreneur, that's not,
Okay.
I understand that, like, that's not how I think. I'm just thinking we're always iterating on our product. And if we get customer data that points in another direction, we would pivot to that direction. And so that's a challenge that we faced, and so but we've mostly just been iterating on our product. But we've gotten to a point now where we have plans to scale out the company more as a marketplace, so similar to Airbnb, which is a little different than how we've been doing it. Originally, when we got started, no one when we would tell people about sleeping pods and you could put a bunch of them next to each other, the
Okay.
feedback that we would get is, oh, no one would stay there for more than 1 or 2 days,
Okay.
um, or that it wouldn't work, it's not legal, and all of these assumptions. So we knew
Okay.
that we had to prove the concept. So we rented a couple of houses ourselves, and we put the sleeping pods in them and rented them out, and it works really well. And now we have our house in San Francisco, which is 28 people in one building.
Okay.
Um, and that's going,
Unbelievable.
yeah,
There are
it's
too many.
going,
Yeah.
yeah. But it's interesting that the problem for us, the communication problem for us, went from people not believing that anyone would stay in a pod, which of course we proved them wrong. We have people who have stayed in our Palo Alto house for 2 years. So people will stay in pods. But it's interesting now we have a new problem, which is people see our business model now and they assume that that's exactly how we will scale it. But really, we were just trying to prove the concept and make enough money to be able to save and reinvest into the company. Um, and then now we're planning on making it more so we don't have to rent the homes, so that the property owners can basically do the same thing that we do. And then we take a fee rather than having to upfront invest in security deposits and rent, but rather we fill the homes and screen the community so you can have the same experience as our places, but we don't have to take on all of the risk and capital of renting the homes.
Yeah. It's a good idea. I think so too. If you try to start franchise model or something,
Hmm.
you don't have to a lot of money, and you don't need to taking all risk. It's a very important thing. How to make build business. I love
Yeah.
this process. I love
Hmm.
this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and our goal is to solve the problem. And so, you know, a lot of times investors can be more focused on money, especially short-term money.
Yeah.
And so, but for us, if this is able to get more pods out there, so more people are able to rent near where they need to be more quickly, then that's the best outcome for us. So we measure success first in terms of the number of people that we're providing housing, but it's also aligned with, the company goal of making more money and being profitable, and having that public market exit, because the more houses we have out there, the more money the company is making. So it's for people, entrepreneurs who have a mission for their company. It's important for that to also align with the company making money, and it has to be kind of effortlessly linked. And that we have that, so everyone we house is more money for the company, and so it works perfectly that way.
Yeah. I love your thinking way. It is because you focus on customers. Listening customers' voice is very important thing. I know.
Hmm.
It is because I have experience entrepreneurs. I We provided like Upwork, a freelance matching platform, and we focused on providing remote work, high reward remote work jobs for software engineer in Japan. It
Hmm.
is because we listened to customers, a software engineer's voice. They want to work from home. They want to get high reward. I listened their voice, so we could make our service. Our service name was called Deal. So
Hmm.
for the first time, focusing on customers.
Yeah.
Um, so it takes a long time to build good service or product, and I want to become venture capitalist in 1 year, and I have already invested my private money as an angel investor to some
Hmm.
startups based in Japan. But I know it takes a long time, at
Yeah.
least 10 years. I spent 10 years, my 10 years, to execute M&A process.
Hmm.
So focusing in customers for the first time, and I want to try to become a venture capitalist, help entrepreneurs like a startup studio.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you definitely will be able to do that. We went to your sushi party, and there were a lot of different people there, and that's kind of the job of the venture capitalists. But it's interesting. Our product, we didn't expect it to be as good for entrepreneurs, because we were just thinking about our background as students. But a lot of the people in our San Francisco house now are coming here to
yeah,
work on AI startups, because San Francisco is the
best place for
epicenter.
AI
Yeah.
entrepreneurs. Yeah,
And so a
I
lot
agree
of
with you.
people, yeah, they work at the WeWork nearby. All of the WeWorks are near
Yeah,
our place, but some of them can't find housing anywhere near here for less than $2,000 a month, plus security deposit, plus all of these different charges.
yeah, so
And
expensive. Yeah,
yeah, and we're able to have house them, in a community setting. And actually, people, so you can imagine the collaboration and the great community effect of having multiple people coming because they want to do their own AI startup, and then they meet other people with those similar passions and skills.
yeah.
And so I'm sure more than one AI company will spring up out of our house.
Yeah, it's best. It's a good thing for me. I want to meet a lot of entrepreneurs focusing on AI field. This
Mhm.
field is very. This field has huge opportunity in 10 years.
Mhm.
Thank you for making good praise for entrepreneurs and investor in San
Yeah,
Francisco. And not only in San Francisco, in Palo Alto, you have another place
yeah.
we can live. Yeah, thank you for
Mhm.
making good experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, James, thank you for your time today. I was very happy to talk with you today.
Yeah, likewise. And I
Yeah,
will see you when you move into our house.
yeah, I will see you again in your house, in your yeah product in your service. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
All right, bye.
Uh,